Welcome to Niner Report Podcast with your host, Patrick O'Brien. Welcome to another Niner Report podcast here. My name is Patrick O'Brien. I'll be hosting the show. I'm joined here today with one of our analysts here, Justin Curry. Justin, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well here. We're coming in today here just kind of giving a brief recap. Everybody kind of saw the stats and everything, but we wanted to talk a little bit about the Eastern Michigan game and then give a small, detailed preview of the upcoming game against Temple. We'll have another podcast previewing more about the Temple game, but let's just dive in on Saturday's game here where Charlotte actually lost 37-19. It was a packed crowd. There was a lot of things to kind of take away from this game here. I would say three things that I kind of took away was the turnovers that definitely led to short fields and also the touchdown. The 49ers have always struggled with the turnover situation in the past, especially in the quarterback play. Kevin Olsen had two interceptions, and they also had a fumble lost as well. Sometimes he was trying to fit too many tight windows and everything, and just wasn't seeing the field very well because he threw for 50% and only 123 yards, and had two interceptions, 2 sacks as well. Didn't have the best game there. Hassan Klue was another one that actually did play well. He went 9 for 15 for 2 touchdowns and 66 yards late in the game there. But we're going to talk about him a little bit later. But definitely turnovers was a key part of this game. Another one I kind of want to talk to, and I know a lot of 49er fans are really excited about watching this young man on the field, is Robert Washington, running back. Only a freshman.
Definitely.
Yes, he ran for 120 yards on 20 carries, averaged 6 yards a carry. And what's impressive, I think, to me, is just he's a bruiser. He's a big guy. I've seen him play, when he was in high school. He was impressive. He has a nice build to him. He's strong. But what when you look at the stats is that he only had 1 yard loss in the game there. So he's always moving north and south there, and always moving forward and pushing, gain as many yards as he can there. Just what do you think about the young running back there in the backfield?
What I like about him is his vision. His vision is very, very good. He seemed to hit the hole, and he was always, like you said, moving north. Not doing much east and west, just putting his head down and hitting the hole. Averaged 6 yards a carry, so he definitely stepped in for Khalif and did a great job.
Yeah, I would definitely say that would probably be the high point of this game that 49ers have to be excited for about the future with this young man. I mean, in the third game, already having a 120-yard game. Maybe next time he'll maybe be able to reach the end zone there and pad his stats a little bit more there, but have to be impressed with that 120-yard performance there.
Yeah, definitely impressed.
Yeah.
The way he was just able to hit the hole and see the field. I mean, for him, he broke one for 22 yards. He, like you said earlier, he had 20 carries for 120, averaged 6 yards a carry. Couldn't really find the end zone, but he was still definitely doing a lot and keeping the 49ers afloat.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of the main key. Or focal point, I guess I would say, in that, especially in the run game, because Ben LeMay, the other freshman running back, he had a good game against Elon. He led the way with 83 yards, but he only had 9 carries for 12 yards. So definitely Robert Washington was the key focal point in that run game against Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, and I like to jump back in on the quarterback situation that you mentioned earlier. Kevin Olsen, I guess it just seemed like they got down early quickly. I mean, they only scored 3 points the first 2 quarters, so they're already down 17-3 at that point. And then Kevin Olsen trying to play hero ball catch up was just forcing it into too many tight windows, wasn't really looking over the coverages. And the turnovers really came back to bite them.
Yeah,
really bit them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you're heading down late in the third quarter, and you know, I mean, if you want to really look at it, you know, with 9 minutes. Eastern Michigan was able to hit that 25-yard field goal. It was 24-6, but you know it was still manageable. You know, still had time and everything. But I think the key play in the third quarter was that 36-yard interception return for Eastern Michigan to then eventually put it 34-6. They added a field goal right before then, but that touchdown making it kind of 34-6, I think that really hurt the 49ers there. And I think, like you said, it was just too much. You can't give the ball away, you know, deep in your territory like that, and you know you have to limit the turnovers. So
the turnovers in your own territory, which leads to easy points for the opposition, is very crucial, which in turn is one of the reasons why the 49ers had such a high ladder to climb. So it's unfortunate. He had a bad game. And Hassan actually, you know, played pretty great, although be it towards the end of the game, he still threw 2 touchdowns. So I like what I see in that kid.
Yeah, and that's one thing I want to talk to you about. I've been seeing about kind of the message boards and stuff like that. You know, people have been kind of looking. You know, Hassan, a more mobile quarterback. You know, has had experience at North Carolina A&T. He can extend plays. I mean, when he scored the touchdowns and everything. I mean, it was late in the fourth quarter. Obviously, kind of the game was out of hand at 34-6. But you have to look at it. You know, 11 plays, 84 yards for a touchdown for that 10-yard touchdown pass early in the fourth, and then another. You know, right after that, it goes 11 plays, 83 yards, in 2 minutes and 54 seconds. I mean, that's pretty impressive, especially, you know, since Kevin was able to do much earlier. Now, granted, it might have been a little bit of garbage time, getting a little bit more experience for Eastern Michigan guys, but, you know, you don't see a lot of that times, especially from last season and, you know, sometimes early this season, you know, the 49ers having 11-play drives. So, I mean, that's something I took away from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that takeaway is pretty solid, albeit it wasn't somewhat garbage time. For him to come in and lead the charge down the field and punch those 2 touchdowns in, I mean, that's really a confidence booster for the team. That's like one big positive they can take away moving into next week, that they know they have somebody under center who can lead them down the field, who will give them a chance, and who can get the ball in the end zone. Kevin Olsen, he had a bad game, and Hassan stepped in when he was needed, and he did his part. So that's a big takeaway. And the mobility thing, I think, will be a huge factor moving forward, because Charlotte still is a fairly new team. So it's good to have a mobile quarterback who can move around and stretch the play and take the ball down and run it downfield if he has to get those couple of yards, maybe keep the drive going.
Yeah.
The 11-play drive is a lot of plays. So he wasn't just doing everything with his arm. He was also maneuvering in the pocket, you know, making a few people miss to extend that play and give them that extra second or two, which allowed them to get those first downs.
Yeah, and I want to get your kind of point or take on it. You know, there has been, like I said, there has been some discussion I've been seeing around looking at who should be maybe the starting quarterback, or I should say, you know, Kevin will probably be the starting quarterback, but you know, with Hassan maybe getting some more reps and more playing time, maybe stuff like that. What are your kind of thoughts on kind of that matter there?
I definitely agree that Hassan should get more playing time. I mean, if you just look at what he was able to do compared to what Olsen did the entire game, there's no reason not to give him more playing time. I mean, he deserves a shot. So we'll probably see him against Temple a little more, maybe a little earlier than the fourth quarter. And we'll be able to see if he can extend the play and pick up where maybe Kevin is lacking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll definitely be something to watch for this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. You know, going against a talented Temple team and everything, that you could possibly see him, you know, get a little bit more PT time. Another note that I kind of wanted to mention was another big factor was how much the secondary was giving up the big plays. I was looking back at all the plays. that actually happened there. And, you were seeing big chunks of yards, 30, 40. I mean, there's sometimes...
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
They had 3 receivers who had at least one 30-yard completion, which is that could be demoralizing to a defense when you can extend the play that long. I mean, one of their receivers, Dan Bushman, he had a 32 yards was his long reception. Ian Erickson, 32 yards for him as well. Those are big plays that the 49 secondary can't afford if they want to keep themselves in the game. So the corner safeties, secondary is going to have to tighten up a little bit on the coverage and talk more. It seemed like there was a little bit of miscommunication out there with receivers getting behind the secondary. So I look forward to them fixing that problem looking into the week ahead.
Yeah, definitely. So those were kind of my takeaways. Justin, do you have any kind of other things that you kind of took away from the game that you wanted to mention?
I mean, really just to piggyback off what we've been saying, I think Hassan definitely has a bright future here with the 49ers. I look forward to seeing him get a little bit more playing time, getting integrated with the offense, getting a little more comfortable with the first team, and seeing that quarterback battle. I mean, I think Olsen knows that he had a bad game, and Hassan had a fairly decent game with the amount of time that he had, so he's going to have to step up his game as well. So it could be the best of both worlds right there.
Yeah.
And I think Robert Washington is definitely a stud for the 49ers in the backfield. He's doing a really good job right now. I look forward to him, hitting the hole and getting in that end zone.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for as far as the offense. And the defense, I think they just need to get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback there. It seemed like he had a lot of time back there. They did get an interception, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, had an interception, which is good. So
they did have one sack in the game as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess the pressure was there at times, but if you go 24 for 31, and that interception was early, it was a couple minutes into the game. After that, going 24 for 31, he had obviously if you can do that, you had some time, and especially if you have some people going for 49, 32 yards and stuff like that. So, those are. Go ahead.
Yeah, defense would definitely have to buckle down a little bit, but I think they're starting to figure it out. Yeah, I mean, they look better. They're not looking, with their heads down. They're looking positive out there, and I mean, when they're getting there, they're hitting. So I do like that. So I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, and now I know the coaching staff want to put this game behind. It did give them a glance on some things they need to work on, but also gave them a glance of some things that they have, going for them, like the running backs situation there. But now the Charlotte 49ers will actually be heading, taking on Temple this week. Temple comes in 1-2. Their 2 losses are to Army and at Penn State. Penn State was actually last week. They only lost 34-27. I wouldn't say, obviously a team obviously wants to win, but going into Penn State when they had over, I think the attendance was over 100,000, going in there competing, still having that chance to take home the win in a hostile environment, that doesn't that is impressive there. Looking at them real quick, and like I said, we're gonna preview the Temple later on this week. I just wanted to give you some quick points, and I'll let Justin kind of dissect it as well of his thoughts heading into the game. The Temple defense, they're giving up about 20 points a game. They're not as stout, I guess they would say, as they were a year or two ago there. They are giving up more points, but you have to look at they only have given up 1 passing touchdown. They have 4 interceptions, but they also have given up 7 rushing touchdowns. So maybe that might be something to look at when we preview it there. Justin, what are you kind of looking for when they take on Temple this week?
As far as the matchup, what I look to is the running game. I'm hoping that the running game will definitely be another factor where they can get in the end zone, because I'm seeing that their passing defense is very good, but the running game, they're starting to give up a little bit of touchdowns. So hopefully our running backs can get in the backfield back there. What I also would like to see is how we attack the quarterback. I see that their quarterback did pretty well against Penn State. They, like you said, only lost by 7 points, and he was 25 for 34, Phillip Walker, 25 for 34 for 286. Didn't throw a touchdown, had 1 pick, but still managed to play pretty solid. So I'm hoping that we can build off the momentum toward the end of the game to transfer that to a victory at Temple, albeit it will definitely be tough. But I think they can do it if they really play together.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to put all the pieces together, I think, in this one there. Well, I just wanted to give a thank you, shout out to Justin here, coming on to his first podcast, and he's going to be on many more coming down the road here for the 49er season. I'm sure he'll be talking a lot of football and then, with basketball as well there. So we look forward to having him more on. And so, Justin, thank you for coming on and joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. We look forward to having you on more here.
I look forward to it.
Not a problem there. That's the end of our podcast for Niner Report. Check back later this week as we preview a little bit more about the Temple Owls there heading into Saturday's play there. Have a good night.